Good morning, YouTube. Pretend farmer here. Not a real farmer, just pretending. I had a subscriber ask me last evening to make a video about chicken coop ventilation. This is somebody that is in the process of designing their own coop. They have some questions and they want some ideas about how to do the ventilation for their coop. Let's get into it. So as you can see with our coop, the ventilation starts just about a foot above the door that we would go into to get inside, and it runs from there clear on up to the peak of the roof. So the first question you might want us to address here is why ventilation? Why do we even need that? Well, the most obvious reason is just to deal with heat. Summertime, most places get hot, and your chickens, they handle the cool weather a whole lot better than they handle the heat. You know, chickens, I think like 55, 60 degrees, that is like their perfect, most comfortable temperature. You know, you start getting up into the 70s and 80s, they start getting a little bit discomfort. You get up in the 90s, triple digits, your chickens are just flat out miserable. You'll actually see them on hot days like that in the summer. They'll be panting sometimes. They're constantly drinking water to try and stay cool, walking around with their wings held out away from their body, just trying to release all the heat that they can. Chickens, they don't handle heat well. And so in the summertime, you want good ventilation like this. Let's go inside. Now there you can see some chickens that are up on the roost still this morning, and behind them you can actually see the ventilation in this coop. What's neat is if you look at the roost bar they're on, the ventilation is right behind them. So they're getting maximum airflow across them at night while they're sleeping. Now if you get really cold in the wintertime and you say, well, that's way too much, you can actually take cardboard or plywood, you can get plastic sheeting, you can patch some of that off so that they don't have that much. But in the summertime, in the hot months, they're going to really appreciate having that up there behind them while they're on the roost. Now, both sides of our coop have this ventilation, and what we've got here is a hook so that in the summertime, we can actually take a fan and hang here, run an extension cord to it, and we can actually draw air through this coop to create a really good draft, kind of a breeze for the chickens while they're up on their roost. Really helps out with their comfort level. Now, another cool thing you can do in the summertime is you can have a door that either gets propped back open or maybe it's even completely removable where you can take it off the hinges and you can put up like a screen door. Now, you want to make that screen door out of hardware cloth or something that a predator can't get into, but you can actually replace your solid door with a screen door just to really help improve the air quality and the ventilation in the coop. Now, when we talk about ventilation for your coop, I don't want you to think it's just strictly temperature-wise comfort for your chickens. It's also for their respiratory health as well. You know, when they're on the roost at night pooping, you get ammonia levels can build up in there. Dust, it gets dusty conditions in there if it's a real sealed up coop. It's just going to be overall healthier conditions for your chickens if you have ventilation. And I don't want you to think that this just applies to the summer months either, because we've talked a lot on this channel about how important it is to ventilate your coop, even in the wintertime. Your chickens put off heat, their droppings are steamy, they put off heat. Your chicken coop is going to get warm in the wintertime. It's going to stay warmer than the outside. And what's going to happen is as your litter is releasing that heat, your chickens are breathing, their breath is going to steam the coop up. And if you don't have good ventilation, then the humidity is going to get high in there and it's going to cause condensation to form on their combs. They're going to get frostbite because you sealed them up too tight. And it might seem natural to us when it gets cold to want to seal up a coop as tight and as draft free as possible. And overall, you don't want a real drafty coop, but you do want good enough ventilation in there that they're not sealed up in a sealed box and that they're going to be able to get good airflow. Ventilation's important in the winter too. What you can also do is come over to where the roof edges hang over the side of the coop, and you can create a little gap there of maybe 2 or 3 inches to provide some ventilation. Also, up on the roof, if you want to do a vented ridge cap, you can do that just like you'd have on top of your house, and that will also allow for some good ventilation. It just might not be as much as you'll want for the summer months. The one other thing you can do for ventilation is to put some windows in your coop. Windows that you can open up when you want them open more. You can close them off when you don't want so much draft. In fact, we've thought about doing some windows here on the front side of the coop here on the pretend farm. That might be a summertime project that we get into here in the next couple months. And these don't have to be fancy windows that you go to Lowe's and buy like you put in your building or your house. You can go really cheap on the windows. In fact, there's some cool videos on YouTube of people that take plexiglass and they'll make like a little channel for this plexiglass to slide down in for a window. And what you do is the window's there in the winter when you don't want so much air going through your coop. You slide it out in the summer months and replace it with a mesh screen of hardware cloth, something that a fox or a coon, skunk, mink, weasel, predators can't get through there, but it's going to offer air to be able to come through your coop, give you better ventilation. These are all the ideas that we've got here for ventilation on the pretend farm. Hopefully we've given you some good input. I hope you find this video helpful. Until next time, this is the Pretend Farmer signing out.